Yes.
Good evening all. Welcome to this meeting of the Finance, Strategy and Management Committee. First order of business is apologies for absence. I've had apologies from councillors Hoskins, Gavroshak and Plant. Do we have any others? No. Does any council have any declarations of interest to declare for this meeting? I have a possible declaration of interest for item to do with grants due to being a member at Henley Rowing Club. Does any other council have anything to record?
I'm a member of the 60 Plus Club. They are on the list of grants. We will be considering an application for them tonight because we've already done that. Should that come up, I would have to declare interest as a trustee of the 60 Plus Club.
Well, Joe would as well, but we're not.
Yeah, we shouldn't be unless the meeting goes in a very unexpected direction.
Well, thank you for the transparency. 3, public participation. If anyone would like to speak, please could you raise your hand. When I call you, state where your name and where you're from, and then you'll have 3 minutes to speak to your item. If you're given that we have 10 minutes allotted for this, if you're speaking to the same item as someone else, please try and keep it as brief as possible so we stay within the limit. First to speak. Dan, I think you had your hand up first.
Okay. Karina Henley, Diana Arnott. I'd like to very quickly talk about 2 things relating to our grant application. During lockdown, I did a course called Think Resilience, and it really affected me because it was brilliant for one thing. It was in a way uplifting, but it really showed me that the way we are going to get through the crises, the triple crises that we're in, is to really be a strong, resilient community. And that's something I've tried to sort of adopt in getting to know all the shopkeepers and things like that. But it's getting critical now with so much scientific evidence of what's happening. And the talks that we've had through the council about flooding has really affected how I think about how we get the whole community to work together. For instance, flash flooding is something that a lot of people aren't so aware of, but it can happen anywhere, and it probably will happen here. But if we have one, like they did in Valencia or even in Monmouth this week, and you get a month's worth of rain on top of the hills, all the cars parked on St Andrews Road, St Mark's Road, all the cars down Grays Road, if you get a torrent of water, Carol Kay from Oxfordshire said you only need 15 centimetres of flood water to move a vehicle. And so if you just imagine all these hills with all this street furniture, cars and anything that's loose being swept into the centre of town, it will just cut everything off. And so what I'm really, really keen is that we are prepared for that. And preparedness is something is the only sensible thing to do, is to start talking and start working with the community about improving, thinking about what could happen and how can we make it so it's not so bad. And that is one of the parts of our application, is making Henley safer. And now the second one is about Lately Green Week. But I would like to say this year has been super busy. We have helped, Green and Henley have helped the town to get bee friendly status, and we're still doing it. We've helped, organise I've organised the Environmental Science Challenge. We put on.
Sorry, that's 3 minutes. Could you please wrap up?
Is it? Oh,
Yes,
sorry.
Cheers.
It's so much, I can't carry on. I'm not content. And so we really need the money to help us provide for that.
Thank you. Kate.
So excuse me, I'm going to read from this. So for those of you who didn't come to the Kenton Theatre last Wednesday, we had 100 people who gathered to learn about the escalating threat of flooding, as Diana has said. But what came through very clearly from the audience is that people are very concerned, alarmed even, but many people feel that their individual actions don't make a difference and they're unsure what actions are actually effective. So that points to a much bigger opportunity in Henley, that we are very well placed in our town to become a beacon town, an exemplar for mass public engagement on climate and nature action. A town that reconnects people to nature at scale, cleans up pollution in all its forms, decarbonises in practical ways and prepares for climate impacts as Diana's talked about. But that just doesn't happen by accident, that kind of public engagement. It takes sustained coordination and professional delivery, and that costs money. The National Emergency Briefing last week at Westminster Hall was explicit. Responding to the climate and nature emergency requires a World War II level mobilisation of society. That mobilisation starts locally in towns like Henley, and it must be properly resourced. Our 4 key projects have been to design and deliver real practical benefits locally and to drive change systemically. Acting together with a strong collective voice, Professor Hugh Montgomery, who's Professor of Intensive Care Medicine, set out at National Emergency Briefing how climate breakdown must be treated as a health emergency. Without action, he said, the hazards are catastrophic. He said, I'm scared for my own life and future, and I'm absolutely terrified for that of my son, and you should be too. This is an emergency, and it requires treating as such. Lieutenant General Richard Nugent also spoke at the event. He described a growing reliance on military support in civil emergencies, such as the kind that Diana's talked about, floods, fires, heat waves, warning that this offers a glimpse of our future if we don't both cut emissions and adapt infrastructure. He highlighted escalating threats to food security, insurance, stressed his greatest concern is multiple crises cascading at once: food, health, infrastructure, migration, energy, extreme weather, all hitting at once. Government systems and institutions risk being overwhelmed, he warned. Unless we act, we'll see a growing breakdown of the norms of society. Professor Mike Berners-Lee, who chaired the briefing, commented about Henley, separate email that he has sent to me. Misinformation is tearing our world apart, leaving societies dangerously unprepared for the scale and urgency of the climate and nature emergency. This lack of understanding fuels apathy and inaction when what is needed is rapid transformative change. Grassroots science-led groups like Green Henley play a pivotal role in driving meaningful action at community level. This helps to create the societal tipping point we need to tackle the challenges we face and improve well-being for all, locally, nationally and globally. I'm nearly finished, Roy, just 2 final points. We are actively pursuing other sources of funding, including grant funding. We're spending a lot of effort and time putting into this, including sponsorship of local companies. We're looking at crowdfunding next year. And we're working very closely with Oxfordshire County Council. They gave us £10,000 last week for our schools work. Now, my contact there did strongly advise me to ensure that we pay core people to ensure the long-term sustainability of the organisation. As Diana's alluded to, we're reaching burnout now, Diana and I. We're working crazy hours, 7 days a week. It's just not sustainable. So just to close, what we're asking for tonight is partnership with the Town Council, an investment that allows...
I speak on behalf of the when I say it's all organisations turn up and speak grants and why it's so important. So thank you both.
Thank you. Field and obviously of Henley Sea Cadets and Royal Cadets. We currently have 39, 32 of them were at the recent Remembrance Space, or 31 after we lost half. The attendance at the moment is about 50-50. It is limited by the facilities. There's a sizable waiting. The unit was recently crowned the best unit in the South region, and the South region includes the South of England, the Channel Islands, the Falkland Islands, Malta. It's a very large. And I qualifies them to take part in a national competition as one of the 5 regional teams. This is a massive honour. It's a huge undertaking. The World Cup team take part in a weekend exercise based on the Royal Marines Commando selection. And that's an assault course, a log run, drill battle tactics, and an endurance run. For the kids, this means getting commando fit in the next 6 months, PT sessions 3 times a week, and practice and all the other skills in between. They are dedicated and very, very determined. Currently, the facilities don't support the commitment of these youngsters, and we have to use off-site facilities. In particular, the parade ground on the riverside of the building is collapsing and can't be used for PT in the dark, or even for drill in the lighter evenings for safety reasons. The need is currently for a resurfaced Parade Square as a start, and Hazel and Jeffries have provided a competitive quote for the work. If Henley Town Council are able to grant £5,000, it will be a huge boost towards the total cost of £14,000. Next, look forward to preparing for the Gibraltar Cup at the home unit, and then have a usable parade ground for the future cadets to use. They want to bring this cup back to Henley so badly for the very first time in history, and the grant will make sure the best chance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Helen.
Hello, I'm Helen Tidell, I'm the chair of Henley Rowing Club. So Henley is the community rowing club on the stretch here in Henley, along with other rowing clubs that are on the same part of the river. We have about 300 members, about 100 juniors, 200 masters, and then social and other members. We obviously do a lot of rowing, and focus in our rowing is the work that we do with a lot of our schools, local schools. We're very much about making rowing accessible to everybody and encouraging everybody to row as best we can. These sort of services free to our local schools, and school clubs, and courses and things during the summer for them. One thing that's really critical to all of these activities is having enough safety cover on the river. It's really important when we have people rowing, particularly juniors, to be able to provide safety cover. And the purpose of my grant application was for some support towards the purchase of a safety boat, which will be used for all of our members and all of the other participants in rowing from our rowing club, of which there are, on top of our members, a good extra 300 plus students who come down every year to do that. So that's our local secondary schools and Henley College as well. We have several initiatives with them going on. It really is quite critical to what we do, and we also share our equipment with the other clubs and organisations. So it would be used by Upper Thames, Phyllis Court, and other organised Henley Women's Regatta. We all work together with this and we share all of it. Which bring income for us. Unfortunately, with the weather conditions of the last number of years, we have a third of our events over the last 12 years, so our income from that stream has been very much reduced. We raise quite a bit of money during Henley Royal Regatta, which has continued every year. Our accounts show that we have over, we're not as the council will be able to help us with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Does any council have any questions for anyone who's spoken?
I learned so much, as I'm sure everyone did in that audience. But what I said, because we've got Greater Henley made this transition, advising people what you can actually, because everybody knows what the problems are. I was wondering if you can add these extra pieces to your plans.
Yeah, I completely hear you. I hope that we are going to respond to that concern. We have not actually, we probably haven't resources to push it out strong and widely enough. We've launched something called Pledges for the Planet, and it covers everything that we as a society needs to do. So one of the categories is travel. We buy plastic, air source, everything, we cover everything. There's a resilience now as well on being really mindful of is that we need to meet what they are, what they care about, that's what we've tried to do. So if we all town pledging to act according to somebody's budget, then we'd be doing really well. And the idea is that once they make it, we can then provide them with sustained communications on the pledge that they've made, so that we can keep giving them information, nudging them to keep up that behaviour change.
And I noticed that Henley Town Council are going down the same path. I just saw this, the CANIAC is going to be meeting on Friday, and they're mentioning they're asking for volunteers in renewable energy and historic buildings. So, that's...
You see more of that.
Oh, and just a quick question for you, if I may. I noticed you're proposing tarmacking part of your hard standing. And I'm wondering if there isn't like a greener solution you can come up with than tarmac.
No suggested one. I mean, I'm liaising with the Environment Agency, and they haven't said that it's unacceptable, but it's an option. And yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be able to help with different solutions other than tarmac.
Yeah.
It's not very permeable anymore. As you know, the climate emergency, especially when we need something permeable. So yeah, so. Thank you. Thanks. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
About taking up so much.
No, not at all. Good question. Does anyone else? Which goes on. I'm going to suggest that we the agenda and